Shalom. Before I get started, as always, I want to give all praise to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone while I learn this truth. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect out there scattered abroad, pushing this truth on the four corners of the earth, risk their lives and freedom to do so. It's the brother Tazamak coming back with a quick lesson. I'm going to call this lesson More and More Until the Perfect Day. And I'm going to be going into how we're supposed to remain on fire. Okay, and we're supposed to remain locked in until Yahweh Bashim Al Shai makes his return. Okay? Until the Lord makes his return, we're supposed to remain on fire and remain locked in and really try to eliminate distractions as much as possible. And when I do these lessons, you gotta self-examine. And I'm speaking to myself first and foremost. Okay? A true believer, a true man of the Lord is going to self-examine. So when I do lessons of this nature, I'm speaking to myself first and foremost. Okay? As well as the Akim. All right? Because nobody has it perfect in this walk of ours. Nobody. All right? We're not going to have it perfect until the law, statutes, and commandments are written in our inner parts. But until then, we're going to make mistakes. Okay? We might mess up and not be locked in for 4 days, 3 days. But you got to pick yourself up and do better. Or you might commit a sin today, tomorrow, but let's do better. Or maybe you didn't study for, like I said, 4 or 5 days you didn't read or study. Okay, let's do better. Okay, let's eliminate distractions because this world is one big distraction, man. And you can see it. Notice when you're trying to do a lesson, you're trying to read, you're trying to study, phone always ringing, text messages coming through, the Laker game about to come on, the football game about to come on, your woman start rubbing on you to get intimate, have sexual, relations. Your kids start bothering you. You see, this world is one big distraction, and Satan knows that, man. So whenever you try to get closer to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, get into the scriptures, do a lesson, read, study, there's always a curveball. And I'm not going to say always, but for a lot of the times, it's a curveball. Your flesh pulling you to not study, to not be on fire because something exciting came up. Something exciting like a woman you've been wanting to get with for 8 months finally decide to come around when you try to do a lesson. You're not fellowshipping with the Akim like like you're supposed to. The scriptures say not to forsake the assembly. Being on fire is not just, doing lessons. You got to be on fire overall. You got to get up with brothers. You got to study. Do your lessons, of course. Self-examine. Self-examine. You can't just say, I'm on fire, I'll do a bunch of lessons, but fuck everything else. It's a package deal. Look at that. I look at everything spiritual. Look at that cartoon, Voltron. They need all the parts in order for it to function. That's how the spirit works. You need everything in order for it to function. And when I say everything in order, it doesn't mean perfect. But you got to show the Lord that you're giving your all, that you're trying your best. A half-assed job is not going to do it for you, Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. The Lord's not stupid. Okay? The Lord is not no nigga on the street, no dude that you can just run a game on. Okay? The Lord knows us better than ourselves. Okay? And, as long as I've been in this, I'm learning that it's better just to live a simple life, man. And to limit distraction as much as possible. Because when you do that, it's easier to be on fire. Okay? Opposed to having 5 different women, you hitting them every week. Which there's nothing wrong with having as many women as you want. But on this side, it's, man, because they all come with drama. You got 5 different arguments you got to deal with. You got 5 other bills, because that's what a woman is in society. It's a bill. You got to bring this bitch something to eat every time you come over. She asked me if you could pay her car note. She cuts you out, or she tries to, because I don't play that shit. She tried to cuss you out because you're spending too much time with the Lord. Me personally, I like doing my lessons when I get off the plantation because I got like a truck. It's like a house in here. It's quiet. I could get it in. I'm not distracted. Nobody's bothering me. Perfect. You know, opposed to when I go home, it's a little bit more of a louder environment. You know, I try to stay with the fire hot. You know, I know I can hit it hard. I can hit it hard here, but you should be able to hit it wherever. You know, you should be able to hit it wherever. But use wisdom. You know, use wisdom. Where's the best place? You know, and look at this picture. That's a brother that's on fire. That has Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. You want to be like that. You know, and I'm single now. Being alone with the Lord is one of the best feelings in the world, man. No distractions. I don't got to answer. You know, but you got to keep that fire like the Human Torch until we get to the finish line. Again, the Lord is not dealing with a half-assed servant. No way, no how. So I'm going to start off in the book of Revelation. The 3rd chapter. Something else I want to point out before I get to scripture, man, is we're always to give thanks to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, man. Always. Okay, even when the bad happens, because the Lord chastised you to build you up for the purpose of, you know, correction. We're getting ready to rule the world, and you know, me personally, I haven't been having the best day. I'm not gonna lie. I threw a prayer up to the Lord, and it's like the Spirit hit me hard. You know, and I'm thinking the Lord, call her law Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. The Lord can do those type of things. I just wanted to throw that out there. Always give thanks to the Lord. Always. This is Revelation 3 and 15. Start at verse 15. And this is Yahweh speaking. I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou were cold or hot. Okay, so the Lord is saying he rather you be cold, not deal with the truth at all, or be hot, be on fire, have that passion, have that zeal to serve him at the highest level. Like I've been going into, you can't be in the middle doing a half-ass job. And like I said, I can't stress this enough. I speak to myself first and foremost. I'm not perfect. We're not going to be perfect until we get those bodies. Okay? But we are to do the best we can, and doing the best we can is being hot for this truth, being hot for this word. Okay? And it says, so then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. The Lord's not going to deal with you. A half-assed job, barely getting by, the Lord is going to X you out, get you out of here. Okay, because imagine getting some lukewarm food at a restaurant. That's disgusting. You know, you don't want to drink that or eat that. You're going to spit it out. Okay? So the Lord is saying either be cold, don't deal with the truth at all, because you're going to get destroyed, or be hot. That's what the Lord is requiring. Hot, 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 hot. Be fervent. Okay? Give the Lord all your might. Everything in you. That's what the Lord is dealing with. But a half-assed job is not going to do it. Okay, and Apostle Har made a statement on a lesson a while back. He said when you hit this truth at like the highest level you can hit it, that's the only level that the Lord will accept. And that's true. Okay, and don't hold yourself back on purpose. You know, because you're scared of being at that level and what it requires. Man, I don't know if I can do 6 lessons a week or 5 lessons a week when you've been doing it for X amount of time. You know, like Tech, for instance, an elder in our camp, okay, and he does usually average 10 videos a week. If he drops down to 3, which is the minimum requirement, man, the Lord could severely judge that man. Okay, the Lord could severely judge. I didn't see it. I saw a brother was doing 7+ videos a week, and he stopped, and the Lord tore his ass up. He's not here no more. Okay, let's putting that out there. I'm gonna get this next in the book of Jeremiah, and the Lord shows us these things in our walk to learn. Okay, so you don't make the same mistakes, man. Because don't ever think, that'll never be me. That'll never be me. The Lord will have it happen to you, man. Okay? This is Jeremiah 20:9. Then I said, I would not make mention of him, nor speak anymore in his name. Because, you know, Jeremiah was catching hell. And the people were coming against him. You know, just like today, our own people coming against him. They was coming against Jeremiah because they didn't like the message that he was preaching. And it says, but his word was in my heart as a burning fire. Shut up in my bones. I was weary with forbearing, and I could not stay. So Jeremiah, even though he was like, man, I'm going to take a break, I can't deal with these niggas no more, the word was in him so hot, he couldn't hold it in. And that's the goal. Okay, that's the goal, to have the word burning in you, you know, so hot, like, damn, I got to get this out. I can't stop. That's the goal. The Lord is only going to give that spirit to brothers that's giving their all. If you're doing a half-ass job, the Lord might only give you a piece. And then take that piece away. Psalms 51 and 11. Which should be every brother's worst fear. The spirit being taken. Okay? But it's supposed to be burning in you. I remember maybe about 2-3 months ago, I can't remember the exact time frame, but my ex was having like a get-together at her mama's house. You know, I'm there chilling, you know, having a little drink. All I could think about was the word. It's so much to the point where I'm sitting there blending in and I'm watching brothers' videos. I'm like, damn. You know, but at the same time, call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahshua, that the spirit is going to be so heavy. That's the goal, but it's only going to operate if you're doing what you're supposed to do. Okay? I done seen taking, I'm going to take a day off and kick it with my broad or one of my women, turn into 3 days. Okay, 4 days. Okay? And it could be a spiral effect. Before you know it, man. That's why you could, you know, an elder just did a lesson, the elder in Chicago. He said, you know, in the Matrix, they plug in and then they plug out. They only plug in for a second and then they unplug right out to the reality. That's what we are to do, man. Go do a little something, all right, for sure. But unplug right back. Because if you indulge in this world, man, too long, you'll lose the fire. You just started a new job at Home Depot warehouse. And I'm giving an example because I used to work over there. Some bad bitches in there. And you on fire, the Human Torch, right? But now your schedule changed. Okay, you work a 9 to 5 and you got to be in bed by 8. Well, you got a broad there that like you and she want to hang out every day after work. What you going to do? And not to say you can't get up with her. Never said that. Okay, but you could lose yourself in that. You could lose the fire. 5 days go by. Now the weekend. Now you got the lack of wanting to study. The Lord will pull the spirits if you do not stay on fire, if you do not stay on point. Again, I've seen it many times over. Okay? I'm going to get this precept next. Because I know myself. I could be hitting it harder. In Lord's will, you know, I am. Before Yahweh Bashim Yahshua makes his return. Okay? Self-examination is extremely important. Extremely. Nobody has it all. This is Luke 12 and 35. I'm going to just point out a point. This is Yahushua speaking. Let your loins be girded about and your lights burning. And it says, let your loins be girded about in Luke 12 and 35. And that's talking about your mind. Okay? You got to be in a proper mindset. All right? Are you going to be prepared for the day of the Lord? Okay? Because it says, keep your lights burning, meaning staying on fire. It's easy to lose it. It's that much more harder to stay on point with the Lord. But when you do, you're going to see how the Lord is blessing your life. Yeah, you might be going through hell, but you could get through it, no problem, because you have Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You're doing what you're supposed to. Okay? As long as you keep that light burning, as long as you stay on fire. Okay? And you got to apply the scriptures to your life. Of course, you can't just be here, I believe, but you're not applying the scriptures to your life. Apply the scriptures to your life. That's the main purpose of learning. To use wisdom in every aspect of your life. You don't just read a verse and say that was Tawab. You know? When you have a fire, like say in the wilderness, you got to add certain elements to it to keep it burning. Okay? You got to add certain elements with it to keep it burning. If you just sit up and say, I believe all day, you're not adding nothing. You're not adding nothing. Faith without works is dead. That fire is going to go out. You got to keep adding wood to it. If I'm not mistaken, I think you got to add like some oxygen to the fire as well. Or like fan it or something like that. I ain't been in the wilderness too much, Salakia. But I've known by watching certain, documentaries and things like that. The guys that be out there 30 days in the wilderness, whatever the hell that shit is called, right? They add certain things to that fire to keep it burning. And we are to give the Lord everything we have, man. You can't just say, I believe the fire's going to go out. Okay, that glow you see on this brother right here, I tell you in the book of Daniel that we should shine as the stars. Because we got this wisdom, knowledge, understanding. You're not going to shine. You're not going to have that fire, okay, if you're not doing what you're supposed to. All right. That's why I got that Revelation 3:15 at the beginning. And that book in Luke 12 is a good chapter, you know. I'm going to go to Proverbs 4:18. But the path of the just is as a shining light that shineth more and more until the perfect day. Okay, and the path of the just, that's talking about us. Okay? And it says that as a light shine a light that shineth more and more until the perfect day. You see it's similar to Luke 12:35 talking about that light. Okay? But it says shining more and more until the perfect day. What does that mean? We should be getting more and more on fire until the day that the Lord makes his return. More and more and more. You shouldn't be declining. We should be increasing. Okay? We should be increasing more and more and more until Yahweh Shai makes his return. Okay? It's easier said than done, but what? It can be done. Okay? It can be done. But it goes back to what I was saying. You gotta add all the tools that the Lord gave us. Praying, fasting, studying. Okay? Staying physically active. The Lord's not dealing with a couch potato. You know? And that's the spirit. I'm about to leave the plantation. I'm going to read a little bit and leave the plantation. As I look over, I see a truck with 144 on it. Called Halal Yahweh Bashim Yal Shai, you know? But that's it. I made the point. Lord's will. This was an edifying lesson with that. I'm going to say shalom.